Welcome aboard the Ear to There podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich, and before I even get started this week, I kind of want to ask you for a favor. I'd love for you to subscribe to this podcast, so if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't rated it, if you haven't reviewed it yet, I've made it really simple and really easy for you to do so, right? So head on over to eartotheretravel.com/iTunes. There I've put together a really easy step-by-step tutorial. You can subscribe to the show there, and that way you'll never have to download it again. It'll download each and every week, actually 2 times each week automatically. And after you do that, it'll show you also how to leave a rating and a review for the show. So thank you so much in advance for doing that. I really, really appreciate it. And that way more and more people will be able to listen and find out about the podcast. Okay, so as I said before, I am your host, Phil Gramlich. If you don't know that already, I'm also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, a Disney specialized travel agency. And it is my goal, my duty, my mission in life to take away all that stress, all that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. You can find this podcast, my blog, or request a free, no-obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. All right, this is episode number 72 for the week of June 5th, 2017. Now, grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. Okay, so you may think I have been having some Disney Animal Kingdom heavy episodes going lately. A lot of my content has been focused on Animal Kingdom. It has been focused on the new Pandora, the world of Avatar. I've been talking a lot about it. I've been reviewing it. I've been walking through it. I've been doing all kinds of stuff. Well, guess what? That is because it is the summer of Pandora. Yes, 2017 is the summer of Pandora, just like it was once the summer of George on Seinfeld. And if you haven't seen it, it's the season finale of season 8 for Seinfeld, and it's one of the funniest Seinfeld episodes ever. It's hilarious. Just go to Netflix and find season 8 of Seinfeld and play the finale. Is Seinfeld on Netflix? You know what? I'm not sure. All right, let's get into the episode. As I mentioned, this is going to be another Disney Animal Kingdom heavy episode, and I wanted to bring to you my ultimate list, my ultimate ranking of Disney Animal Kingdom attractions. If you follow along, if you've listened to the show, you know that I've already done one of these episodes for Magic Kingdom, for Epcot, and for Hollywood Studios. So this one's been a kind of a long time coming, but I wanted to make sure the new Avatar attractions were open before I gave my list. So, surprise, surprise, they are now open in the summer of 2017 as I am recording this. So, here we go. Let's talk about my ultimate list of Animal Kingdom attractions. So, I went with numbers 21 through 1. So, 21 being it's not like this is universal. These are my rankings. These are how I feel the rankings of these attractions should go. You can feel free to disagree at home. You can feel free to write me an angry email letting me know that you disagree with my rankings. But these are how I feel the rankings go in the park. Okay, number 21 is the Dinoland edition, or subtraction, shall I say, the Dinoland ride. Let's call it a ride, not even attraction. And it is Triceratops Spin. Now, I know what you're saying. Your kids love this attraction. I get it. I do. My kids love it as well. My issue with this attraction is, do I want to stand out in the sun in Disney's Animal Kingdom in Dinoland on that hot concrete with no shade, literally no shade, stand in line for that attraction for a half hour, 20 minutes, get on the attraction where there's still no shade, just to spin around on an attraction that I could do in Magic Kingdom several times, on one of two Dumbos, on the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, and you all know how I feel about that attraction, or on the Astro Orbiter in Tomorrowland. All are better attractions than Triceratops Spin. And it pains me to say that because I have a severe dislike for the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. Again, it kind of ruins the theming of Adventureland. It's right in the middle. It could be this huge, fun experience that could be in Adventureland, or it could be a huge open air bazaar like it should be in Adventure. You know, I'm getting completely off topic because Triceratops Spin makes me think of that attraction in Adventureland that shouldn't even be there. Okay, so number 21, in my opinion, the worst attraction in all of Disney Animal Kingdom is Triceratops Spin. Okay, let's keep going on to number 20, and this is a weird one because this isn't even really an attraction, but it's listed on a guide map. It is listed there somewhere as an attraction, unofficially, officially. I think it's officially. So number 20 is Dino Zoo. Now you are sitting there in your car or on the treadmill right now and saying, what is a Dino Zoo? Okay, maybe you're saying that. Maybe you know what Dino Zoo is, but I think the average visitor, the average guest to Animal Kingdom doesn't know. And who is Dino Zoo? Well, Dino Zoo is a replica skeleton of the most intact Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton that was ever discovered. This dinosaur was discovered, well, not dinosaur. Nobody discovered a dinosaur, guys. I promise you. Nobody discovered a real dinosaur. But someone did discover the skeleton of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the most intact, the most complete, over 90% complete, actually, skeleton of a T-Rex that was found. And it was found in 1990, and it was replicated, or a replica was created for Disney's Animal Kingdom. You can find Dino Zoo in the front of the dinosaur attraction in Dinoland USA. So you can't do anything with it. You can't ride it. You can't climb on her. You can't have her chase you around. But apparently Dino Zoo is an attraction in Dinoland. And it just goes to show you how much I love Triceratops Spin, that an inanimate dinosaur skeleton gets ranked more highly than that attraction does. By the way, complete side note, complete tangent, and I'm going to tell you a funny story really quickly about one of my trips to the park that shall not be named down I-4 a little bit of the way. So on one of my trips to that other theme park, they have a Jurassic Park section in that theme park. There used to be a Triceratops, I believe it was a Triceratops, almost like a meet and greet. You would go in and there would be a Triceratops in the area, and it would be breathing and moving, and it looked like it was sleeping, and it was a really cool thing. I mean, they did a great job with that animatronic back in the day. Well, I was there with a relative who I will not name because I don't want to embarrass this said relative, but we were visiting the Triceratops, and it was complete with a zookeeper, kind of, or a paleontologist who was there explaining the animals, the dinosaur, by the way, diet and habitats and habits and all kinds of stuff. And the relative that I was with put both of his or her hands over his or her mouth and made a sound and said, "Oh my God, is that a real dinosaur?" Okay, so I hope you found that as funny as I did, because listen, it was right, I guess, maybe 8 or 7 years after Jurassic Park was at like the height of its popularity. But I think only my relative in that moment actually believed that that was a real dinosaur that we were seeing. All right, on to number 19. And my 19th one, this is already where it starts to get a little bit tricky for me. As I mentioned on the show a ton of times, the first Disney theme park that I ever worked in was Disney's Animal Kingdom. So these are all kind of, after the first couple attractions, these are all kind of fun and good and worthwhile attractions for me. So that is not to slight this one. When I say number 19 is the Discovery Island Trails. Now, these are little walking tours, little pathways that you walk through around the Tree of Life that have different smaller animals that you can check out back there. It's nice. It's quiet. It's usually secluded, especially if you go in really early in the morning when everyone is heading towards the headliners. It's a nice little attraction, a nice little walkthrough for you to enjoy. So grab a cup of coffee, walk through, check out the smaller animals. It's a really cool, really fun kind of, well, fun might be a little, that might be overstating it a bit. But it's cool and it's calm and it's neat to see the smaller animals, the smaller mammals in there. So yeah, check it out. Okay, and on to number 18, my 18th ranked attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom. And that is another one. I'm not picking on Dinoland USA, I promise. But a few of the ones I've already said are in Dinoland USA. And we're going back to Dinoland USA for the Boneyard. And why the Boneyard at number 18? Because I have spent a lot of time in that kids' playground area of the park. If you have little kids, I would say, 5 or 6 and under, they will love that area. They won't want to leave. So kind of use caution when you go in there. There's a lot for your kids to do. You kind of explore it at your own pace. Well, you don't. Your kids do. And again, it's a fun time for little kids. It's a little bit of it's a time suck for adults. Basically, you're going to be standing around a lot in there looking at your watch or your cell phone. Well, I mean, keep an eye on your kids. Keep an eye on your kids too. But I think more than likely you'll be one eye on the kids, one eye on the cell phone. Like, let's go, let's get out of here. But it's good for your kids. They'll have fun. They'll enjoy it. Okay, on to number 17. And it is Meet Minnie and Mickey in the Discovery Island. I forget the official name of it. We're going to call it Meet Mickey and Minnie, or the Mickey and Minnie Meet and Greet. The reason this is kind of ranked so low on my list, because listen, who doesn't want to meet Mickey and Mickey, right? Did I say Mickey and Mickey? That's not what I meant. Who doesn't want to meet Minnie and Mickey? I mean, you can meet Mickey twice. You just have to find him in other spots. But yeah, who doesn't want to meet Minnie and Mickey? I know my kids always do. My wife always does. I always do. But it's not the most exciting place to meet Mickey and Minnie. It's kind of a small little adventurer's outpost. Really, if your kids want to meet them while you're in Disney's Animal Kingdom, then do it. If not, there are better places throughout Walt Disney World to meet these two. I say definitely do it if you want pictures of them in their safari outfits with your kids. If you don't, then you might want to skip it. Okay, on to number 16. And the reason 16 is on the guide map as an attraction is still a little beyond me. But it is. It's an attraction, even though there is an attraction inside this attraction. You'll understand more about that in a second. I am talking about number 16. The 16th attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom on my list is the Tree of Life. And I get it, when you get up close, you get to see all the animals that are carved into the tree. It is beautiful, beautiful workmanship and craftsmanship. And the sculptures of the animals is outstanding, or are outstanding. But to me, you can see that while you are waiting in a queue for a different attraction that I will mention in a little bit. But it is worth it. If you haven't been up close and seen the Tree of Life up close, it definitely is very worth it to go check it out. I'll tell you another funny story. One of my favorite stories about the Tree of Life is when the park first opened, Jane Goodall, the famous researcher of chimpanzees, came to Disney's Animal Kingdom to see the park. Well, when she saw the Tree of Life, she noticed that there was no chimpanzee carving on the tree. And she mentioned it to the folks she was walking around with, the representatives from Disney. So wouldn't you know it, Disney went back and added a chimpanzee carving to the tree. And they actually used one of Jane Goodall's favorite chimpanzees. It's a likeness of David Graybeard, which, by the way, is a hilarious name for an animal. David Graybeard sounds like a pirate, like he should be over in Pirates of the Caribbean at Magic Kingdom. Or maybe he should be fighting Johnny Depp in the new Pirates movie. David Graybeard is here to take the rum. All right, that's a bad pirate, but you know what I mean. It's a funny name. Anyway, now there is a chimpanzee carving in the Tree of Life. All right, moving on. And at number 15 on my list, you can take the train, the Wildlife Express, over to Rafiki's Planet Watch and visit this one. It is Affection Section at Rafiki's Planet Watch. This is basically a petting zoo. That's what you're looking at. There's goats and sheep and other, animals over there that you can pet. I'm not going to get into my issue that I'm kind of, I have lots of issues, guys. If you haven't noticed from listening to me over the last year plus, I have some weird hangups. One of them is that I don't really like to touch wild animals. I know they're domesticated, the goats and the sheep and the, whatever else they have over there. I don't really know because I've never been through it because I don't like the feeling of animals. I just, I like a dog. I can deal with a cat or a bird or a fish. Actually, that's not true. I don't really like birds. But the petting zoo thing freaks me out a little bit. We take our kids to a local zoo here and they get to feed, the goats and the sheep and the other animals. I think it's goats, sheep, rams. Is a ram the same as a goat or a sheep? It's in the family, right? So they get a whole bunch of this feed and they go in there into the barn and they feed the animals. And I kind of just stand in the back and hope and pray that they don't lose a digit while they're feeding them. Anyway, if you want that experience, that's why it's ranked so highly for me, because my kids love it and I like to watch them do it. I just don't like to participate. So there you go. Number 15 is Affection Section at Rafiki's Planet Watch. And while you're out there at Rafiki's Planet Watch, you should also visit the number 14 attraction on my list, and that is Conservation Station. And quite honestly, Conservation Station is pretty cool. Sometimes you get to see animals being operated on, which is really cool. You see checkups, you see all kinds of stuff with the veterinarians over there checking out the different animals that they will have on display. There are a whole bunch of other exhibits over there, so it's worth it to take the Wildlife Express to Rafiki's Planet Watch to check out both Affection Section and Conservation Station. Also at Rafiki's Planet Watch, there's a really cool mural when you first walk in of all of the animals, not all of the animals, but a lot of animals. And there's a whole bunch of hidden Mickeys in that mural. So check that out. I always like checking out trying to find all of the hidden Mickeys in that mural when I'm at Rafiki's Planet Watch. Okay, so let's move on to I believe it's 14 on my list. No, I lied. It's 13, number 13 on my list. And I am going back over to Asia, the Asia section of Disney's Animal Kingdom. And the Flights of Wonder show is number 13 for me on my list. This is a really cool show, even better since years ago they put the roof up over it. That was a phenomenal decision. When I first worked at Disney's Animal Kingdom in 1998, there was no roof over that theater, and it got, in the summer, insanely hot. Not just for the guests who were sitting there and watching, but for the performers, the handlers on stage and the birds themselves. It got super hot in there, so it's nice now that they have the roof and you can kind of watch it in the shade. It's a fun show if you like birds, and even if you don't like birds. Like I already admitted, I'm not a huge bird fan, except for the Philadelphia Eagles. I like those birds, but I don't know. Birds, another thing that kind of freaks me out. But it's a good show. They do a lot of cool tricks. The birds are amazing. They have them do some amazing stunts. So go check out Flights of Wonder on your next trip to Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's a neat show. Okay, on to number 12. The 12th best ranked attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom is over again in Dinoland, USA, and it is Primeval Whirl. Now, Primeval Whirl is one of the 2 roller coasters that is located in Disney's Animal Kingdom. It was opened with the Dino-Rama, Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama section of the park, along with Triceratops Spin that I mentioned earlier in the show, and a whole bunch of the Midway Carnival games over there. One thing about this section of the park that I think needs to be mentioned or needs to be talked about just for a second is that I've heard a lot of guests and other bloggers and podcasters complain about Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, right? They say it's a corny theme, like an amusement park. I'm sorry, not theme park, an amusement park kind of attraction. It feels like an amusement park. It feels like a roadside attraction. And that is exactly what Walt Disney did not want in his parks when he built Disneyland, right? I've heard people say it's, it looks kind of trashy and beat up and like it could be found on any roadside of any major highway in the country. And that's what Walt was trying to avoid when he built Disneyland. Well, guess what, guys? That's exactly what it's supposed to be. The point is that area that was outside of the Dino Institute and the Dino Land area was built as a roadside attraction to those, or for those people who were coming to see the Dino Land and the Dino Land Institute and the other exhibits. So just like all of the attractions popped up around Disneyland in the 1960s, the Chester and Hester Dino-Rama exhibit or a park was supposed to be one of those knockoff lands that opened around the Dino Institute in the Dino Land area. So the cracked sidewalks, the faded paint on the street, that's all a look that the Imagineers were going for on purpose. I don't think that escapes a ton of people, but I think it does escape few guests and few writers and bloggers and podcasters. So I kind of want to just put that out there. Anyway, all right. So yes, that's exactly what it's supposed to look like. So back to Primeval Whirl. It is one of the two roller coasters in Disney's Animal Kingdom. It is a lot of fun. It's a kind of a spinning wild mouse roller coaster. Think of it as like a tilt-a-whirl, right? On a roller coaster track. That's really what it kind of boils down to. It's a lot of fun. You laugh, I laugh anyway, more on this attraction with my family, with my friends, than I laugh on a lot of Disney attractions because it's just kind of outrageous. So I guarantee if you ride this one, you will laugh your butt off. So yeah, go give Primeval Whirl, that's not right, Primeval Whirl a shot on your next trip. Okay, moving on to number 11 on my list of my ultimate list, my ranking of Disney's Animal Kingdom attractions, and it is over in the Asia section of the park, and it is Kali River Rapids, number 11 on my list. And I have to be completely honest with you, I have done this attraction twice in my life. Yet another one of my hangups is I hate to be soaked walking around a park, and I know you dry very, very, very quickly in Disney's Animal Kingdom. But I just don't like the feeling. I don't like to have soaked socks and shoes or shorts when I'm walking around the park. So I don't ride this one often, or I haven't ridden more than twice. But I understand it's a big favorite. A lot of people love it. The queue is fantastic. If you're not going to ride the attraction, just walk through the queue. It's so well done. So check it out. I'm not going to go too in-depth into Kali River Rapids, again, because I barely ever ride it. That's why it didn't crack my top 10, but it's a great attraction for those who like to get soaked. I just don't. Okay, moving on to the top 10, my top 10. And my number 10 attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom is It's Tough to Be a Bug. This is the one that I mentioned was kind of an attraction within an attraction because it is located inside the Tree of Life Theater, inside, well, the Tree of Life. But it is a great 3D show. It's been in pretty much continuous operation since opening day of the park. I love it. Everyone loves it. It's a really, really fun 3D show, except if you're a little kid and you're easily afraid, then parents, please heed my warning. If you have kids or young children who are easily afraid, do not bring them on this attraction. There's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of things that kind of jump out at you. There are sounds. There are strobe lights. There are special effects that actually touch you. You know your child. If you have a little kid that scares easily, maybe sit this one out. And yes, I learned this the hard way. I have scared all three of my children on this attraction. My son will still not go into the Tree of Life because he's afraid of it. So listen to what I say. Don't do what I do. If you have an inkling that your child may be afraid of this attraction, sit it out. Ride it on your next trip. Not ride it. Experience it on your next trip. Because if you think they'll be scared, guess what? They probably will be. Okay, on to number 9. We're well inside the top 10 now. My number 9 on my list of Disney's Animal Kingdom is the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Now, again, this is listed as an attraction. It is an attraction in itself. It is a walkthrough. It's located in Asia. Not the continent, the section of the park. I'm not having you jump on a plane and go all the way to the other side of the world to walk through this. It is actually in the Asia section of the park. You walk through this attraction, you see awesome animals, including Bengal tigers. I think they're giant flying fox or foxes. They're huge bats is what they are. And other animals. It's a really, really neat walkthrough. And it's got a great storyline. I think I've talked about the storyline on the podcast before. But if you haven't looked it up, or if you haven't heard about it, basically the Maharaja loved the tigers and loved hunting tigers so much that he kind of trapped them in his palace to make it easier for him and his friends to hunt them. Ultimately, it didn't end up going so well for the Maharaja, and he was taken out by a tiger at some point. As you walk through the attraction, the story is actually painted in murals on the wall. It's very, very cool. So yes, number 9 on my list is the Maharaja Jungle Trek. If you haven't walked through, definitely walk through on your next trip. All right, on to number 8 on my list. And this is one that I saw during cast previews when it was first put out there. And the show was like an hour long. Now, they've since condensed it down quite a bit. It's a much more manageable show. And what Disney's done with this one, by the way, it's Finding Nemo the Musical, in case I forgot to mention it, which I think I did. So Finding Nemo the Musical, and it's the reason this is such a great show is they made a non-musical movie a musical show. And the music in the show is phenomenal. The performers are amazing. I know I sound like I'm just blah, blah, blah. Nothing at Disney could be bad, blah, blah, blah. But you heard the beginning of the show, right? So you know that there are some things in Walt Disney World, and especially in Animal Kingdom, that I don't love. But I do. In my top 10, of course, I love this show. The performers are awesome. If you haven't seen it, it is the way the performers handle it is they have puppets. They're puppeteers, and they also sing all the songs and act everything out live. It might sound a little distracting, but it's not. You end up watching the characters and not the puppeteers as much. I don't know how they do it, but it's seamless. And their facial expressions, when you watch the performers, when you watch the puppeteers, the actors, the singers, they're all the same person. It's amazing. And their facial expression follows the storyline. And it's such a well done, well put together, just a really fun show. So yeah, and it's also air conditioned. That used to be the theater where the Tarzan show once was, and it was an open air theater, and it was blazingly hot in there. I don't know, about 10 years, 11 years ago or so, they closed that theater up, and now it's air conditioned and it's beautiful. And listen, I would sit in there for 2 hours to watch that show if I got to stay in the air conditioning for a while. So, okay, so moving on to number 7 on my list. And number 7 is my old stomping grounds, or one of them in Animal Kingdom, the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Why do I love this one so much? Well, the gorillas, of course. I do love walking through still and seeing both troops of gorillas on either side. They're amazing. There's juveniles in there. There are babies in there to see. They're just incredible creatures to kind of hang out for a while and observe. And once in a while, they'll do something really fun, like they'll bang on the glass and they scare the pants off you. So that's a lot of fun to go and hang out and watch the gorillas for a while. But there's a lot more, right? It's a walking tour. You get to see all kinds of animals. You see the okapi, you see naked mole rats. There's a part where you see the hippos. There's an aviary. You see meerkats, all kind of stuff. Yeah, it's meerkats, right? Not meerkat. I think it's meerkats. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. So you see meerkats, and you just see tons of animals, and it's such a cool experience to walk through. This is definitely one where you want your iPhone or your Galaxy phone or your camera ready, because you'll get a lot of cool photo ops. I bring my DSLR camera when I go and I zoom in on the gorillas. I've gotten some really cool shots of gorillas and meerkats and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I believe this is number 7 on my list. Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. That was formerly Pangani Forest Exploration Trail. That was formerly Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Okay, so do the exploration trail. It's in Africa. Again, not the continent, but the land in the park. And it's over, like, kind of behind the exit or near the exit for Kilimanjaro Safaris, which obviously is coming up because I haven't mentioned it yet. Okay, on to number 6 on my list. And we are headed back to Dinoland, USA. And it is, of course, Dinosaur. So, of course, when this one opened, it was Countdown to Extinction. It became Dinosaur when the Disney movie of the same name kind of was coming out, was released, and wasn't doing extremely well. They tied it into the movie. And that's another decision, Disney, that I didn't love. And I love Walt Disney World. I worked for the company. I still work with the company. I really enjoy my time there. But changing the idea, the theme, and the name of Countdown to Extinction to Dinosaur kind of took away from the attraction a bit, in my eyes. Now, I'm sure a lot of you listening never rode it when it was Countdown to Extinction, and it's still a phenomenal ride, which is why it is actually number 6 on my list. But listen, I had to get my dig in there, right? I did enjoy the name Countdown to Extinction more than Dinosaur. Anyway, the attraction is still great. It recently went down for a rehab where it's now 2017 again, where I'm recording this, May of 2017. Actually, no, it's early June of 2017. I forgot what month it was. So they went down for a rehab a couple of months ago. It opened back up. They fixed a lot of the audio animatronics that weren't working very well. They added some pretty cool visual effects in there, and so the sound was cleaned up, and it's just a great attraction. And it's another one where if your kids are afraid of the dark or are afraid of loud noises, you may want to skip it. You don't want to have your child have a meltdown after this or on this attraction and then ruin the rest of the poor kid's day. So you know your kid better than I do. Think about it. It's dark. There are dinosaurs that roar, that chase your vehicle. So think about skipping it if you have a kid who is a little afraid of the dark or loud noises or things like that. All right, on to number 5 on my list. And this one is the best show that Disney's Animal Kingdom has had basically ever. It debuted in an all-new theater a couple of years ago, and it is the Festival of the Lion King. That is number 5 on my list. Talk about performances. This one is awesome. The singers are amazing. They belt out all the songs from the Lion King that you love. The guest interaction is incredible. Guests, children and adults alike get to participate in a little part of the show. That's really, really cool. The floats and the set pieces that they bring out for this show are just incredible. And my favorite part of the show, I think the best part of the show, are the acrobats. The Tumble Monkeys especially. If you haven't ever seen the show, go see it for the Tumble Monkeys alone. They're phenomenal. You almost forget that they're gymnasts and acrobats, and you just kind of completely believe that they're these monkeys and they're in these roles. It's that good. Also, if you haven't seen it, go, because they sing the beginning of Circle of Life live, and I've tried to say those words that they say at the beginning of that song, and I can't do it. So hearing them do it live is really, really fun. Again, great show. I really don't think it can be beat in all of Animal Kingdom, or really for a live show. It's one of the top that Disney has really ever offered. And again, it's air conditioned and it's a bit of a long show. So when it's hot in Animal Kingdom, as it always is, go check it out. Take a break, go to Tusker House, have lunch with the characters, and then kind of shuffle on over to Festival of Lion King. You will love it. All right, on to number 4 on my list. Number 4 is, and this is why I waited so long to do this episode. Number 4 is the all new, very cool Na'vi River Journey in Pandora, the world of Avatar. This is let me try to explain it the best way that I can. I've talked about it on the podcast already. I've talked about it on my Facebook Live videos and YouTube, all that stuff. But it's basically Pirates of the Caribbean on an alien planet. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. It's a classic Disney dark ride in the vein of Pirates or Peter Pan or something like that. But it's on Pandora. And it's all bioluminescent. It's incredible. And something that Johnny Shortsleeve, my friend and oftentimes collaborator on this show, reminded me of was when we were on a live broadcast was to talk about Over Your Head. Now, lately in the newer Disney dark rides, and even in the classic ones like Peter Pan or like It's a Small World, if you look up above your head, you'll see, air ducts or ceiling tiles. And it doesn't take away from the experience, but it doesn't completely envelop you in that experience. That is not the case on the Na'vi River Journey. When you look up over your head, there is stuff happening. I mean, there are these bioluminescent leaves, there are animals in the trees, there are, aliens, there's all kinds of stuff all around you. It's a complete 360-degree experience. I've only ridden it once, and I can't wait to do it again because my head will be on a swivel again. You can't see everything on one ride through. So it's such a cool attraction. And I think that's been proven already in the short time it's been open by the wait times. I mean, you're looking at a 2-hour at least wait time to get on that attraction. And I'm telling my clients, and I'm telling you, do it. Wait in line. If you're there, get a fast pass for the other attraction in Pandora that I will talk about in a moment or a few moments. I'm not going to tip my hand here and tell you where it is on the rest of the list, but get a fast pass for the other one and then wait in line for the Na'vi River Journey. It's worth it. Okay. It's a great attraction. It really is. On to number 3 on my list. Yep, here we go. The top 3 Disney's Animal Kingdom attractions, according to me. And really, who else's opinion do you prefer or do you value over mine? Right? Right now, you're like Bob Iger, Joe Rohde. All right, stop thinking about that. Don't think of those higher ups. Of course, think about me. Okay, on to number 3. And we're going back over to Asia in high up into the Himalaya mountains for, you guessed it, Expedition Everest. Now, you want to talk about a themed over-the-top experience. Everest is it. Imagineers went to Nepal. They went to Everest to get all the artifacts to bring back for the queue of this attraction. You completely feel like you're in a mountain expedition, shop where you're headed to base camp. Everything is authentic. Everything tells the story. It's incredible from the front of, actually from before you even get to the queue, you could be a few hundred feet away and see the mountain in a distance. And that's actually when, the attraction starts. It starts well before you get into that queue. It's such a great experience. And I would say, even if you're a little afraid, if you're a little afraid of roller coasters, do it. If you're a lot afraid of roller coasters, maybe this one isn't for you. Because as roller coasters go, listen, there's no loops, there's no inversions, nothing like that. I'm not, spoiling anything here for you. I think you can get that information kind of quickly on the internet. But there are some intense parts. My oldest daughter, first rode it on our last trip, or on our January trip of this year. And she's brave. She was 6 at the time, just turned 6, absolutely loved it, thought it was awesome, laughed the entire time. So if you have an adventurous little one or an adventurous spouse who might be afraid, maybe edge them toward this one. It's a lot of fun. It's a great attraction. And I know people will talk about the quote unquote Disco Yeti, and that is because there's the Yeti used to have this very dramatic kind of, he was swinging his huge arm down through your car as you rode by at the end. That only lasted, I think, less than a year until they had to turn the Yeti into B mode, which means they just have a strobe light flashing on the Yeti as you go by, but it's still a very, very impressive figure, even though he's not moving. I think if you haven't done the attraction, or if you've never experienced the Yeti with the arms swinging and all, you don't really lose a whole lot. Now, if you're like me and you did ride it when it was, when the Yeti was in all of his glory, then you miss out on a little bit. But I think as a guest who isn't as crazily Disney obsessed like I am, you'll still get a heck of an experience out of seeing the Yeti at the end. All right, so on to number 2. Number 2 on my list. Okay, here we go. It's one of 2. There's only 2 that I didn't mention yet, and here we go. Number 2 is, I'm pausing for dramatic effect. It is Kilimanjaro Safaris, the classic, the quintessential attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom. Again, this attraction goes back to Walt Disney himself. When he was creating the Jungle Cruise, he wanted live animals on the Jungle Cruise. Thankfully, it was the 1950s, and the technology had not really caught up to Walt's imagination just yet. They couldn't figure out how to keep live animals on the attraction without getting into some trouble with the guests, or keeping them on the attraction where guests could see them at a regular basis. So they tabled it for a while and built the Jungle Cruise with audio animatronic animals instead. But of course, no good idea at Disney ever goes away. And Imagineers, when they were talking about having a new theme park, a 4th gate, the idea of doing something with live animals came back up, and the Kilimanjaro Safaris attraction became the inspiration basically for the entire park. If you haven't done this one, or if you haven't done this one in a while, get your cameras, get your iPhones ready at the start. On almost every ride through on the Kilimanjaro safaris, you'll see dozens of different kinds of animals. It's truly an awesome experience. It is the one that, well, at least until very, very, very recently, guests would kind of rush toward when they first walk through the park. The storyline has changed over the years. There's no more Big Red, Little Red. Wilson Matua is not coming to you live on the radio anymore. But listen, it's an awesome attraction. Dozens of animals, like I said. You see giraffes, you see zebra, you see lions, you see all kinds of stuff. Hippos, rhinoceroses. I think I covered all the bases there. You see gazelles, you see wildebeest, you see warthogs, you see mandrills. I'm going to stop talking. Nile crocodiles, because you see all kinds of animals on this one. So number 2, Kilimanjaro Safari, without a doubt, an awesome, phenomenal attraction that any day in Animal Kingdom will not be complete without riding that one. Okay, on to my number 1 attraction in Disney's Animal Kingdom. And yes, you guessed it. It is the all-new, brand new Avatar Flight of Passage attraction. This one is completely undescribable, however you say it. It is unbelievable. I can't wrap my mind around it. The technology is insane. It is beautiful. It is breathtaking. It's all, every sense that you have and then some are completely overwhelmed on this attraction. Turn your head any which way. You see mountains and floating mountains and vistas and dragons and banshees and the Na'vi people and oceans. And I don't want to spoil it for you. If you haven't done it, you have to get there. You have to ride this attraction. It doesn't compare to anything else. I've called it Soarin' on steroids, and that's kind of what it is, but it's so much more than that. It's just an unbelievable, overwhelming, emotional experience. I got off that attraction with my friend Johnny Shortsleeve. We were walking down the ramp to the exit back into the land, and we couldn't speak. You try to put it into words, and you're just like, I mean, that's what you say. You can't put it into words. It's amazing. Again, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to ruin it for you. I want you to go. I want you to go to Disney's Animal Kingdom and experience it. I know I've been talking about it a lot, but until you see it in person, you can't explain it. So my number 1 attraction is the all-new Avatar Flight of Passage in Disney's Animal Kingdom. Go, go, go. That's all I have to say. Get to the park as soon as you can. Make your plans. Book your trip. Go on this attraction. I promise you will be absolutely blown away. And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening. It is always greatly appreciated. And thank you for putting up with me alone for, at this point, almost 43 minutes. That was awesome of you. And if you did like this episode, just tell someone about it. Share it on Facebook. The post will be up there on facebook.com/ear to there. Phil, that's where the Facebook post will be, so you can share it from there. Also, as I said at the beginning of the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review the show. That would be awesome of you. Again, the address for that one is eartotheretravel.com/iTunes. There is a tutorial there that will walk you right through the process. It's really easy. It takes a couple of minutes. Thank you so much in advance for that. I really appreciate it, and it'll help more people listen to and know about the show. So that is very awesome of you. All right, that's going to do it. Just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning, as well as a new episode of the Ear to There podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. And that will be each and every Wednesday morning. So until next time, thank you again so much for listening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.